So I've been asking questions in the Facebook page, on my Instagram, and also in I think it's called the community tab here. And in this video, I want to look at one of the great questions I was asked, which is how do you get noticed as a photographer? Now, I'm going to talk about being a commercial photographer, but I think this pretty much stands for anything. Now, the first point I need to make here is that I've been doing this since 2009, which is 11 years? 11 years. It's a long time. When I started, nobody knew who I was, just like as a standard rule. Now, getting noticed just seems like the most daunting task because there are so many of us photographers out there, and there really are. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of photographers and wanting to be professional photographers. It is incredibly competitive. So I'm going to go through, like looking back in hindsight, how to get noticed. Now, first of all, this here, YouTube, this will not get you noticed as a photographer. It will get you noticed as an educator, as a perhaps entertainer, but it is not to get noticed as a photographer. Doing this here won't get you professional photography work. However, social media can do, and Instagram is a great platform for that. I'm going to do a separate video on how to use Instagram as a commercial photographer to get noticed, so do hit subscribe if you want to see that. Now, as with everything, patience is key. Nobody's going to notice you quickly. Nobody noticed me for 8 years. And then all of a sudden, the bookings started coming in, they snowball and snowball. So one of the reasons most people go it's impossible to get noticed is because they haven't been trying for long enough and they haven't been doing it consistently for long enough. So let's take social media, for example. I don't have a particularly big following on social media because I don't need it. I'm not selling to the masses, I'm selling to specific people. But I have a big following of those specific people. It's just under 10,000 and they're all sort of engaged people within that. That's important. So I've been posting consistently for several years on there. Now, people who do it for a week and then stop and do it for a week and then stop, it doesn't work for them because they haven't been consistent. And the important thing is to be putting that work out there. The only shortcut to getting noticed is to create a body of work that is so good that it gets published in lots of places. And a lot of people are, oh, what about marketing? How do you market yourself? All this, your marketing is your portfolio. You should be spending more time looking at your portfolio than anything else. Every week you should be working on it. You should be trying to work out who it is you are, what it is you're selling, what you're trying to say. All these things need to be a constant thought. If you're a food photographer like myself, you're walking through the supermarket, you just think, that's beautiful, maybe we should be doing something with that. You're getting the magazines out, you're reading them. It's all about your work. Getting noticed, the only thing that will get you noticed is good, original work. Jumping on the whole train of these soft, dreamy images with the, that's not going to help you. If your work looks like everyone else's, you're not going to get noticed. The only way to get noticed is to be good and to be different, and most importantly, to be consistent with it. You have to constantly show up and constantly put out the work. For example, if I take a very famous photographer like Annie Leibovitz, for example, and I start taking portraits in her style, I am not going to get noticed because I'm going to be a cheap imitation of that person. And yes, I can do it well and I can do a good job of it, but it's not going to get me noticed. Now, if I come up with my own style and my own voice of portrait, it could be inspired by her for sure, but it has to have my own voice within there. And then I just keep constantly plugging. And the thing is, for 5 years, no one's probably going to notice unless you are an absolute genius photographer. And you've just got to be consistent and persistent. And you need to keep putting it out in front of the right people. So it's not just doing an Instagram post today or doing a portfolio shoot every week. You need to be submitting it to the right people, to the agents, to the agencies. I went back through my emails recently to find an email address for a particular agent that I wanted to talk to about something. And I found an email from 2013 that I'd sent to her. And it was showing my portfolio. And then I saw all these things every 3 months. Here's my portfolio, here's my portfolio. She didn't respond at all for years and years and years. And then one day she phoned me up going, we've got a little bit too much work on, can you help me? She hadn't noticed me in any of these emails. She'd sent a fresh email. It wasn't a response to one of these. But this is a constant plugging away and rejection. And the amount of rejection is obscene. And you have to sort of just almost expect it and just go, you know what, I'm going to message this person. They're not going to respond to me. And the way that I've seen it throughout my career and talking to agents and art buyers is, first of all, you send emails and you don't get a response. You might get an out of office or something, but no one's responding. Then you send emails and you get a response saying your work's not good enough. And at this point you celebrate, because this is the first time that somebody goes, I'm actually going to put into writing something to you, because originally it was so bad that we didn't even bother responding. But now I'm going to say, is not good enough. And then you keep plugging away and you work and you work and you work. And then someone goes, look, your work's not quite at the standard we need because we need someone with a more specific voice, or we're not looking for someone like you at the moment. We already have somebody who does what you do, whatever it may be. But this is like the next big celebration. Like, yes, they think I'm, competitive at this stage. Then you start sending it out again and people are coming back to you going, look, we have someone who does what you do already. We love your work, but there's a conflict of interest here, or we've already got a photographer we work with for this sort of thing. And this is like, I've made it. All I need to do now is find my little opportunity to jump in and get my slice of the pie. And this whole process takes years and years. And this is contacting photo agents, advertising agencies, producers, art buyers, the whole lot. And it goes from just being ignored to eventually being told you're not good enough, to being told you're not what they're looking for, to being told we don't need you right now. And then eventually someone goes, let's sign you. We'd love to work with you. You're exactly what we want to be doing. And this is great. But this takes 10 years. Most people drop out before they get the response saying you're not good enough. That first bit, that's 5 years of just getting no response. And it's tough, and it's often humiliating, especially if you come from a career where you were, reasonably well regarded beforehand before making this change. But nothing comes quick. But when it does work and you've put that work in and everyone else is going, I don't understand how you get seen and how you get noticed, you just think, well, I've been doing it for 10 years. That's how I got seen. And you have to be consistent, persistent, and also just driven to just take it. And if you want to be a photographer and get noticed, you have to think, right, if no one knows who I am now, in 10 years' time, someone's going to book me for this sort of work that I want to be doing. What are the steps leading up to that? And you just have to really, really work at it. And there is no shortcut. Yes, the odd photographer, I think Joey L has always been used as an example. He was like 17 shooting for Nike. But he's a genius, and what can you do? If you're not a genius like myself, you've got to work. You've got to put the hours in. I don't have this natural talent and gift just to go, well, I'm great at stuff. Some people pick up a camera and within a month are signed to a top agent. Most of us, we have to work for it, and that's fine. Everyone's different. These people who get this, they have to work at something else. Everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses. We just take our time, we plug away at it, and the main thing is you have to really want it, because although, there's not many careers in photography at a good paying level, they are there, and they're there for the taking, but only for those who are willing to put in the years and years and years of graft and learning and work and rejection and hardship to get to them. Now, I hope this helps that question. If you do have any questions about it, drop them in the comments below. I always check them. Do hit like, do subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I'll hopefully see you next week.